Hi everyone, I wanted to share with you a few things that I have been making. This is inspired by Heather Tracy and I'm going to link her below. So I've been working a lot with the Finnabair waxes and they are metallic, and I wanted to show you a few things that I made with them. So I die cut out these moon shapes and then just experimented with different colors, and then I did this gate and did the same. I put some black gesso down first. I'm also showing you some cardstock that I sealed with aluminum foil tape, which you can usually find in the automotive section. I think I actually found that at the dollar store. And here are the three waxes that I have. They're in aged brass, mystic turquoise, and rose gold. And I'm just going to show you on a little piece that I had embossed. This is embossed with damask, and it's just a cereal box that I cut and then embossed. And so this will be more of like a subtle effect, just showing you kind of how the three different colors of the waxes interact together, how you can get some really cool effects. Definitely the most dominant color of the three is the mystic turquoise. So if you want to go for like a really bold blue that has a little bit of an interference color in it, that one's great. And then if it becomes a little bit too blue, like if you wanted to make it look more vintage, you can always go back in with other mediums like chalk paint, any type of like craft black paint. There's some techniques that you can do with that too. And there's the aged brass on there too, which also to me looks like a vintage gold with a little bit of a red tint to it. The rose gold is definitely the most subtle, but probably my favorite color of the three. And then I just thought to show you a really bold effect. This is actually the Momenta No Drip Stencil Paste. This has been one of my favorite metallic mediums to work with, and I'm just showing you how bold that looks on the embossed surface. And the great thing with this paint is that it dries really fast. I mean, almost immediately. And a little bit goes a long way. So I've shown that Momenta No Drip paint in other videos, but I just thought I would show how it stacks up against the waxes. So the waxes are definitely a little bit more subtle than some of your metallic paints. Now I'm just pulling out some Momenta Paris Dusk stamp ink, and I'm just going to show you with this kind of violet darker background on the other side of this same embossed piece. I'm just going to do a nice deep violet background to show you on a dark background how cool the metallics look up against the dark color. So I'm just using all the different pastes once again to show you the difference with that purple in the background. So that first of all was the aged brass. Now I'm going with a little bit of the rose gold. And you can really see how the metallic colors pop up against a darker background. And they have an even more intense effect against black. So you could use black paper for that, black cardstock, which I'll be using in a little bit. And of course, if you wanted to apply some black craft paint or black gesso, that's also a great way to make a nice background for these metallics. And working with the waxes, they're very forgiving. You can be really haphazard about the way you apply them, and if you just want to apply a little more color in one area or sort of emphasize another area, it's very easy to do that with these, and you can pretty much get it right on the first try. So here's an embossing folder that I thought would be cute to show you some different effects you can get on black cardstock. This embossing folder definitely has a whimsical theme. It is a couple of deer and they're looking up at stars and clouds, and I actually thought that I was taping this part of it, but turns out that the camera was not on. So what I did here is in the bottom 3/4 I used 2 distress oxides, a purple and a green color, and then in the clouds I used the aged brass. So for this part, I used a little bit more of the cereal box and I put the aluminum foil tape down and then just ran it through with an embossing folder with a rose pattern. And what I'm using here is a little bit of cerulean blue craft paint, and I'm just going to let it dry a little bit. And while it's still tacky, I'm just taking a damp paper cloth and going back over to take off some of the paint and let some of it still settle into the crevices. So this is what it looks like now, and you can still definitely see the metallic of the silver. And then you can start to add some more effects. So I thought the aged brass would look nice up against the blue because the brass has a tiny bit of an orange tint to it. And I thought it complemented the blue really well and decided not to use any of the other waxes on this one because I really liked that blue actually, and I just thought it'd be fun to add a little bit more of a metallic on top with the aged brass. So here's some up-close looks at what that looks like. These are really easy to create. They just take a few minutes maybe, and they're really fun to play with. So here's another embossed metal piece with cardstock in between, and I actually used aluminum foil in this case and glued that down with some Yes paste, ran it through with one of the damask embossing folders, and then I'm just very subtly going in with Mystic Turquoise wax and just giving it some variation in color. And the flip side of this piece actually had the exact same base. It had the aluminum foil, then the reddish part of it, I actually used some cranberry alcohol ink and just ran over it with a blending tool. And so you can definitely see the cranberry, but you can still see some of that silver shine through. And then I thought I will dull down some of the areas that are shiny, and so I used some cracked pistachio distress oxide, which is already on my media mat, as you can see off to the right there. Then again, using a blending tool, I just went ahead and soaked up some of the distress oxide and went over certain areas. Gives it a little bit of dullness to take down some of that shine and give it a little bit more of a vintage distress look. And then I also like the idea of the cracked pistachio up against kind of a reddish background, and also gives it almost a patina look. So here is the front and back of that embossed piece to give you some of an idea of the different colors and variations that you can get with that effect. Alcohol ink plus distress oxides. So this is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll join me next time. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.